Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for October 19th, Monday, 2020, 3 p.m. Eastern. So many times I communicate with people, and you're able to discern that they're not within. Doesn't make them bad, doesn't make them any different than any of us as far as the God within. But they're not there. They still are distracted just as much as always from the external world, external reality, external authority, And we get distracted so easily, we kind of slip into that frame of mind or understanding where we're constantly attracted to that because we're so conditioned to it. So actually it feels uncomfortable for a lot of us to go within, to be within. And basically you surrender into your very core existence, which is pure consciousness, the God. And that everything, no matter what it is, has its own consciousness. Even a quantum particle has its own consciousness. And all of us, all pieces, everything, are the one, part of the whole, everything. You could take all of the matter that you're made up of, and the matter of your body, okay, which is very small percentage that the body is actually, it's mostly space. If you took all the matter that you were, you'd be able to put it on the tip of a pin. And even then you would discover that it is energy. Everything is energy. We don't, the Draco system on this planet, it doesn't allow for many to, breach the barrier of their own imagination. Can you think about this? Think about this through your motion picture in your heart minds, is that we don't have any barriers. You imagine that this civilization were to come into perfect harmony with itself, and its imagination was just limitless. You imagine how things would be right now, in this now? We go through each life. It's really interesting. We go into this life, usually we come through a baby body if we're going to be in mankind form, and so then we create the experience throughout the life. Then we leave, and as we leave, we go to the other side. The other side basically is pure consciousness. But if we weren't able, because of distractions and everything in the life, that when we leave the body, we still don't know who and what we are. So then what we do is we're met with a light. And it's ironic because we're the light. Each and every one of us are. The God light, the pure consciousness, pure energy. But we see this light and we go to it. We're innately drawn to it, so we go to it. And then as we go into that light, we are met with familiarity of others who have left the body, and then it's facsimile of who they are representing. And you just swear that you're just having a many lifetime family reunion, and you feel good, and all that stuff goes in and everything, and you're zapped before you get there. So you go through the so-called tunnel of light, and you're zapped, you're electrified, a very powerful beam hits the God that you are, the energy, and the memory area is removed, so you just don't have a clue of the life that you were in. See? Then you begin to, you can review your life however you desire, and you'll remember this and remember that, but then once you're zapped, you don't have memory of even being on the planet, see? So you say, I'm going to go down there, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So you come into baby body, and you have residual of memory, even after they electrify your soul. So you have a residual. It is some of the essence of your memories there from the past life, and then you come into the baby body, and roughly maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years, maybe some less, some more. The maximum is up to 7 in most cases. Then you retain some, and you remember some things, but as a baby you can't communicate that because you're in that baby body. And then eventually it just fades out, and you just have no recollection or memory of it at all. And this is one of the reasons why we're distracted from external authorities, so the things happening outside of us. And so in this life, every life, it is for us to discover who and what we are when we enter the body. Isn't that interesting? So it's to go within and to discover who and what you are. Is that you're the God, you're pure consciousness, you're pure energy, and you are unending. You're eternal. So you're a supreme eternal being. So what happens is that, but you don't know, when you enter the body, you don't know who and what you are. You just don't have any clue. And that's on purpose. So that we can learn and that we go within. And that's why, like I've said, so many of us will spend thousands of lifetimes and never get there. Because we keep repeating and repeating. And we don't end up finding out by going within who and what we are. And it's interesting about this. Now, when all of us come in our own way to the full conclusion that it all works out perfectly in the end. It always does. And, there's only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying. You're not going to be happy if you worry. There's just no way you are. So you cease worrying, and when you cease worrying about things that are beyond the power of your will, okay? And that's Epictetus. That's a quote from Epictetus. One of the greatest sensations in life is the feeling that everything really does work out perfectly in the end. And in the midst of all of the global fear, confusion, and chaos, we always have the option to step back from it all and see life from a more spiritual perspective. And everything relaxes the moment we see that behind every event that happens in this life, there is a highly intelligent, deeply loving force that is steering the entire ship of mankind. Wouldn't it be amazing to simply speak the words out loud every morning? Everything will work out perfectly in my life. Everything. And then here's the kicker. Truly believe it all day long. All day long. Every day. Morning, noon, night. But from the heart mind, not the ego mind. And the process that we take of assimilating the belief, this is a belief, as the whole truth, can be a tricky and quite an arduous experience. For us to arrive at 100% trust that everything happening in mankind today is unfolding in the divine orchestration, we first need to explore one thing. How do we stop identifying with this untrusting inner control freak inside ourselves who is there behind the scenes trying to micromanage the show? How do you do that? How do you stop identifying? It's inside of us, and none of us are exempt, and it's kind of an inner control freak inside of us who is there behind the scenes trying to micromanage the show, and how do you do that? So deep beneath the surface of the everyday world, there exists a unified field of energy everywhere that pervades everyone. And every living, and as they say on this planet, and dead thing in the entire universe. So, out of the body. Now this field we might name quantum consciousness. And you go on and on and on, quantum, super hyper quantum. And the quantum consciousness is the most benevolent, grace-filled energy that has the highest loving guidance for all of us. You might say it feels like the heart of God, or a force of the purest love that pervades everything. And it is currently directing everyone to the most divine, intelligent future possible. So no matter how challenging or wrong things may temporarily seem for our lives, when we can sit back from the mind and refocus on this divine field behind it. And we will all see that right now the greatest rebirth is happening for mankind. Everything is unraveling itself naturally to unveil the highest truth that has been hidden from our eyes. You remain focused on this field of divinity, guiding it all, and you will remain perfectly calm throughout the entire apocalypse. See, mankind is moving into a new way of thinking. This is what's happening. It's a new way of thinking. It's a new type of thinking. It is essential that mankind is to survive and move on to higher and higher levels. This is what's going on. Because what we believe we create. And as we become more aware of who and what we are, then we evolve. Now, you might think that you're unable to see or feel any aspect of this divine field of love. Yet this is just the mind attached to another thought and story. That's all it is. So you set aside the mind, and you feel into your silence. That might take you so many minutes, maybe 40, 50, minutes to get there. Yet it's worth it to feel how the great spiritual essence behind everything. Now, when the mind is quiet, everything becomes clear. It is not easy to quiet the mind. Yet you will know when you've shifted out of its grasp, because your body will respond by allowing you to breathe deeply and fully in your belly again. planet, right in this now, the entirety of mankind is purging and restructuring itself. Now, we either choose or don't choose, but we choose. We must spend as much time feeling the light of divinity is also within each and every one of us and each and every one of our hearts. So by feeling this natural beacon of light within ourselves, we naturally bring guidance for others. I always talk about pioneers. Pioneers are the first discoverers. They're the ones that go out and they kind of lay the groundwork and the roadways and for the airports to receive more and more awakened. So, this is what's going on right now. The entire mankind is purging and restructuring itself. And when you choose to feel the light of divinity, it's also within you in your heart. You begin to start feeling this natural beacon of light within yourself. You naturally bring guidance for others. It's the simple awareness of the warm light of divinity within you, each and every one of us, that will set our inner spiritual fire ablaze, and it can happen quite fast. So by keeping a relaxed body and mind that is focused in this present moment, now, where the field of divinity actually exists, each of us will soon begin to feel the divine warmth inside us. As we keep focusing the mind inside and relaxing any tiny tightening in the body. So when you feel a moment of lightness, bathe in this expansive energy, follow it inside, you will start to see a beautiful, bright, flawless future inside you, shaping you and the rest of the world. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Rumi. Mankind is attending the greatest spiritual awakening school in history. We are all being individually upgraded to 5D consciousness, where we will shift out of polarity thinking, us versus them, so to speak. That is polarity thinking, us versus them. And again, operating as one unified organism and the planet. What everybody is experiencing in their own way, shape, and form on this planet, in this now, this is a spiritual rebirthing for each and every single one of us on a unique and individual level. So you will get to reap what you have sown in the past, and whatever actions you do in the future will be met in your final harvest at the very end. So we choose this, and so we choose to take as much responsibility as we can for creating more peacefulness inside ourselves. This is the most powerful tactic we can adhere to at this time. And we choose this. This is up to us, no one else. It's all about you. By taking 100% responsibility for our own mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being in every single moment of each day. We are here to become lighter and freer from our heaviness and become more aware of our higher purpose in life when you are vigilantly aware of the moment your body contracts in fear, and you sit back in your awareness and acknowledge that behind the fearful thought is the field of divinity. It is still here. The mind is simply putting on an entertaining horror show for you. With pure awareness, we will stop getting hooked into the fear-based movie and low vibrational thinking. What do you think the fear-based movie is? It's what we create. And it's low vibrational fear-based thinking. So our inner screen, our motion picture in our heart minds, and our outer screen will be very captivating. It has already mesmerized and hypnotized each and every one of us. It speaks many truths and many lies. And each of our jobs, should we choose to, is to tell which one is which. Are you becoming more aware, and is your awareness getting stronger, like a bright fire? This light will free each of us from the darkness and the over-controlling fear-based thinking patterns, and our awareness is the one thing that will set us free. Awareness. And the issue is that there is something deep inside of us that is not aware. And this unconsciousness part needs to be brought to the surface to be seen. So we could call this part our inner control freak. And this is the untrusting part of us who doesn't think everything is always in divine orchestration. This is the inner control freak, is that aspect of ourselves who cannot surrender to life, who believes it always needs to be in charge, or you are not safe. So the inner control freak might believe that God is a charge to some degree, yet somehow it doesn't trust in this invisible force 100% of the time. So the inner control freak needs full control to feel safe from harm, and that you are living life on purpose, capable of making your mind happy. So when the inner control freak feels it can control life's wheel around every little turn, then it feels safer, and that something horrible will not happen. Now you can kind of picture yourself on a beach. There ain't anybody around. You're in an Adirondack chair. You're just kind of leaning back, wooden chair. You see the water and the sun setting. You're total relaxation. And you say to yourself, nothing is under control, so relax. And that's the trust that you have in your pure consciousness, the God within, and the universe. When we become acutely aware of our inner control freak, we see its controlling game and untrusting habits. So we see it. And through awareness, which is seeing it, we have just taken one step towards being free from it. And the lack of awareness of our inner control freak only makes us suffer, because by default, it wants to remain in control over every little thing. It thinks it always knows what's right and how to make you feel safe. We, each of us, in our own way, follow the control freak's thought patterns, not because it always does know what's best, or that it will only make good decisions in life, but we follow because we don't know anything else. We are too afraid to look behind the curtain and see what would happen to our lives if we surrendered to a higher divine plan and trusted 100% all day long that everything is always unfolding exactly as it should. This is about, again, going to not fighting the current. You're not swimming upstream. You're not swimming against the current. You're swimming with the current. So you dive into your heart center. Sit in the silence. Desire self-realization with all your heart, with all your mind, and all your soul. Cry out for God, and you will be with the right people. Everything will take care of itself. Robert Adams. We are all given life situations that make our inner world freak or inner control freak happy, and ones that also frustrate the heck out of it. Now, the secret here is knowing how to be at peace no matter what occurs when your inner control freak doesn't get exactly what it wants. How do you usually respond? Are you going to freak out and be a slave to its emotional upheaval? Are you going to allow your inner control freak to ruin the peaceful freedom you get from abiding in your heart? If you can live today with 100% trust in your heart, today, now, 100% trust in your heart, how do you think your inner control freak will respond? And the choice is always yours, whether you follow the motive of your inner control freak or not. So your mind has this unconscious automatic mechanism inside it that says, the moment life doesn't agree with my plan, I will either fight, freeze, or fly away. When things happen against my ego's desires, then the entire world is against me. This is the moment the inner control freak takes full control, becomes a tyrant who will never allow you to feel weak, powerless, or small. So when you can see your inner control freak is inside you all day long, making decisions for you, you will begin to realize how everything and everyone in your life is a teacher for your awakening. There rarely is 5 to 10 seconds where this inner controlling mechanism is not at work. And as you start to understand how pervasive it is, how your inner control freak is always forcing you to live in a smaller fishbowl of truth, making you afraid to live a bigger life, an oceanic truth, you start to ignore your inner control freak and naturally let it go. Enlightenment is not about imagining figures of light, but of making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. The soul, or present moment awareness, is the state of pure consciousness in each and every one of us. This space has no fixed opinion about anything. It is simply here to experience all the good, bad, sweet, and salty aspects of life. It does not need to control anything. And once you find this state of pure consciousness inside you, you can't live inside it and naturally discover a higher perspective that sees everything and everyone is always the way it should be. So the trusting track that exists free from the mind knows how each thought and action is divinely orchestrated to the finest perfection, no matter what our inner control freak may believe is true. The inner control freak does not have a very powerful, it doesn't have a very important spiritual purpose or it wouldn't be here. So it has a very important spiritual purpose. It is trying to wake you up from the dream. By creating so much false security, safety, followed by tension and fear in your life, you simply are forced to step into surrender. So this is all about us learning our path within. That's what this is all about. It's never been about out there. Once you find this state of pure consciousness inside you, you can live inside it and naturally discover a higher perspective that sees everything and everyone is always the way it should be. So this trusting track that exists free from the mind knows how each thought and action is divinely orchestrated to the finest perfection, no matter what our inner control freak may believe is true. You can try to spiritually convince the inner control freak that everything is going to work out for the highest good, yet there's really nothing that anyone could say to make it actually believe everything is going to turn out perfectly in the end. You ever notice that's why you feel, a lot of the times you feel, because it's unfinished, you kind of feel like it's, everything is going to turn out perfectly in the end, and then you still have that control freak saying, no, it's not. No matter what great spiritual or religious argument the greatest minds on earth could conceive of, the mind will always summon up another doubt, fear, or disbelief saying that, what if XYZ happens, then what? So how do we help the inner control freak to let go of fear and believe everything is happening for the highest good of all? The secret begins with how closely that we are listening to our minds and our bodies, and when we can become more attentive and more sensitive to it every day. So the body will give you signals of not trusting or trusting. We live in the perfect process created by the universe, and we are doing that perfectly, whether we realize it or not. Osho. We live in the perfect process created by the universe. We exist, and we are doing that perfectly, whether we realize it or not. When we are deeply trapped in the mind of this inner control freak and living for years with this tight, white-knuckled grip on life's steering wheel, our bodies will feel tight, our shoulders and back and neck filled with tension or some form of tension. This is the body's attempt to trying to wake you up from believing in the thoughts of your inner control freak. The thoughts are making your body respond with pain. If you can feel the pain while seeing the illusions you're creating with the mind that are making the pain manifest, then you can release it through tears, laughter, and relax deeply into your body, and your consciousness becomes more clear. And the moment you surrender to every experience in life, knowing each experience is the perfect experience for your awakening, you start to see the greater plan and begin to deeply let go of your attachment to your inner control freak and its incredible story of suffering. And when you truly let go, you'll feel this momentary free fall into the vast unknown, which is initially deeply terrifying. And then, when you relax finally into the free fall, you find an even deeper, expansive inner voice that says, even though I'm not in control right now, everything is going to be perfectly okay. If every day is an awakening, then none of us will ever grow old. And we will just keep growing. So if you will, go to the place you're not going to be interrupted. And I'm sure we all are. And the first thing that we care to do is relax our bodies. Let it go. Just let everything fold off of you, disintegrate, drip away, evaporate. Anything that you magnetize yourself to attract in fear, stress, worry, anxiety, anything like that, any of it, all of it, just let it go. Just release it. It doesn't serve you any good at all. So as you do this, the body responds, drops the shoulders, your back, your shoulders, your lower, all the way down your spine. You can feel it decompress and just let go. And you move into the space, the sacredness of space that you are, which is inside, it's not outside. And as you relax the body and you move into the sacredness of space that you are, you're going to want to breathe. And you're going to be in the now. And the breath focuses you on the now. So whenever you want to know if you're in the now, focus on your breath and you'll be in the now. Our whole direction is to stay in the now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. And the now stills the mind. When you leave the mind alone, amazing things move into your motion picture in your heart mind. So your breath, as you relax the body, you move into the now, and you focus on the breath to stay in the now. Eventually you'll always be in the now because you'll practice enough, so it's automatic. So as you do this, as you practice being in the now, you begin to expand. You begin to become more aware. And so your breath, divine positive energy, ease it in through the nose and ease it out through the mouth. The body, it sustains, holds the kingdom of God. Now, we take our breath, and our breath goes up through the center of our bodies. It moves up through the center of our bodies, right up through the spine to the top of the head, along with our God force energy. And it goes through these conduits, these wheels of light, multicolored wheels of light, known as chakras, energy vortexes. And each one has a different flower, and each one has a different geometrical shape inside of it. Now these are, imagine this through your heart, minds, and motion pictures. You see yourself doing this. You're watching. So you bring that sacred divine breath in through the root chakra, starting with the red wheel of light, the Muladhara. This represents our foundation and feeling of being grounded. The location is the base of the spine, the tailbone area. Our emotional issues, survival issues such as financial independence, money, and food. Our physical association is the spine, the rectum, the legs, the arms, and circulatory system. Then we move to the orange wheel of light, the Vadhisthana. This is sexuality and pleasure. And this sacral chakra, our connection and ability to accept others and new experiences. Location is the lower abdomen, about 2 inches below the navel and 2 inches in. Emotional issues, sense of abundance, well-being, pleasure, sexuality. Physical association, reproductive organs, kidneys, bowels, immune system. Then we move to the golden yellow wheel of light, the solar plexus chakra, the Manipura. This is our personal power and ability to channel. It's our ability to be confident through the heart mind and in the mastership of our lives. It's in the upper abdomen and the stomach area. What are our emotional issues? Self-worth, self-confidence, and self-esteem. If you were to snap all these green wheel of light, the heart chakra, the anahata, this is love, relationships, and self-acceptance. It really is our ability to love. First yourself before anything else. It's the center of the chest just above the heart. What are our emotional connections and issues with this chakra? Well, love, joy, and inner peace. What's the physical association? Or the heart, thymus, lower lung, circulatory system, immune system. Then we move to the blue wheel of light, the throat chakra, the Vishuddha, self-expression. It's our ability to communicate with ourselves and everything else. It's in our throat. It's, our emotional issues are communication, the self-expression of feeling the truth, and the physical association, our thyroid, respiratory system, teeth, and vocal cords. Then we move to the indigo wheel of light, the third eye chakra, the ajna, intuition, sense of purpose, and direction in life. So it's our ability to focus on and see the big picture. You call it our brow chakra because it's right in the forehead, in between the brows. And emotional issues, intuition, imagination, wisdom, ability to think and make decisions. Physical associations, pituitary gland, eyes, and sinuses. And then we come to the crown chakra, the Sahasrara. Connection to the divine. It's the highest chakra. It represents our ability to be fully connected spiritually. It's right top of our heads. Inner and outer beauty, our connection to spirituality and pure bliss. The physical association is the pineal gland, the brain, and the nervous system. We brought our divine positive energy along with our God force energy, hand in hand, arm in arm, moving up through these energy vortexes, which bridge between spirituality and physical. Etherical, physical, spirituality, physical, back and forth, back and forth. Total alignment. So as we hold this divine positive energy, God force energy at the top of our heads, we hold it for a brief moment. I am light, I am love, I am. And in that brief moment, we compress and condense it into pure liquid energy. Omnipotently powerful, and we release it over our pineal glands. Now you view through your motion picture in your heart mind the pineal gland, and you say whatever you identify it to be in your heart mind. I look at it as a rosebud, green ball, and when I pour this pure liquid energy over it, it completely goes into full bloom. It has a multicolored petals and a beautiful fragrance, and it sends out these beautiful waves of embracing love, deep eternal love. And it opens up all our gateways to all the particles of existence, to pure consciousness, to God and beyond. This is what it does. So all those gateways are free and open, which allows each of us to be everything and nothing all at once. We're all consciously aware that we are of and from the highest of deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest of deepest eternal gratitude. And we know that we're merged, we're aware of this, is that the heart, mind, body, soul, spirit, higher self, pure consciousness, the God within, all one. So when we walk this earth, Gaia Arya, we create paradise, and each step we take is not only creating paradise, but it is heaven on earth, creating paradise to experience and embrace. Now we have others with us. We have the archangels, cherubim, the seraphim, the archetypes, and ascended masters, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Sonata Jesus, El Moria, Abundantia, Helen Thought. Many, many, many more. Now, both the archangels and ascended masters are both consciously aware that they're of and from the highest and deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest and deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude. And we're all reflections of each other. Always. Because we're the one. So the archangels, we see them a lot. We just don't see them like we see each other. They're always interacting with us, whether a complete stranger comes out of the clear blue and carries on a conversation with you, or you begin to realize that it might be someone you know that is, but doesn't need to tell you it is. Are we them and are they us? Yes. So the archangels can have, 50, 60,000 surrounding us at any one time, each one of us. But the reason is that their vibrational frequency allows them to hold a major number in a small area. The ascended masters have mastered ascension out of body, hold pure God form consciousness, pure consciousness. We have ascended into body to experience and master physical. So we're all off, but we're all one, all reflections of each other, experiencing different things collectively to perfect our creations. We all form a massive circle of light at the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now in this meditation. Arm in arm, hand in hand. Our gods are one, our pure consciousness. We're all love, we're all God, and we're all one. This knowing that we are in full compassion, full conscious compassion. Non-negativity, non-judging, non-ego. Non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, abundance. And we're all love, we're all one, and we're all God, and our God-light energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And it continues to intensify, and it continues to expand. This circle of light is so bright and brilliant that it grays out the darkness of space. It saturates all of us, inside and out, head to toe. It is a reflection of who and what we truly are. Pure consciousness, the God, deep eternal love, gratitude. It would take over 1,000 billion suns in this solar system to even come close to its radiance and brilliance. So we choose to start levitating above the planet. And as we do this, we are compelled to call out to is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Only those who are consciously aware that they are of and from the highest and deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest and deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, and this circle of light. And they come in the gigaplexes. One gigaplex fills this universe. They come in trillions in every direction. And they are with us now. We call upon all the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, Agartha, beneath earth, many, many, many different civilizations, many species. And only those who are consciously aware that they're of and from the highest and deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest and deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, in this circle of light. And they come in the billions, and they are with us now. We call upon all the off-worlders, all the galactics, all the celestials, only those who are consciously aware that they are of and from the highest, the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest, the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, in this circle of light. Now, we're only familiar with a handful of them, somewhat familiar, and over 1,000 travel through the solar system every day. Now, this includes, all the civilizations that we're somewhat familiar with, include all the species and levels, both the good, not so good, and bad, of every civilization. We have the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Andromedas, the Arcturians, the Zeta Reticuli, the Feline, the Greys, the Nords, the Draco, the Reptilian, the Golden Pyramid, and the Avian. Many, many, many more. They've been assisting us in our evolution, enlightenment, ascension, freeing ourselves from our own self-imposed bondage and our own self-imposed slavery. And they come in the billions, and they are with us now. We call upon all of our loved ones, all those who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we've inhabited. Only those who are consciously aware that they are of and from the highest, the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest, the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, this circle of light. And they come in the billions, and they are with us now. We call upon all the light energy beings who have decided to be housed in the following forms on and above and below this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now, this meditation, in this circle of light. Only those who are consciously aware that they are of and from the highest and deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest attitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, in the forming of this circle of light. And we're only familiar with a fraction of them. They come in the trillions in shapes, colors, sizes, forms, configurations that we've never seen. Never seen. The ones that we're somewhat familiar with are the fairies, the sprites, the elves, the gnomes, the dwarves, the trees, the trolls, the elementals, earth, air, water, fire, the mermaid, the dolphin, the whale, ether, the Pegasus, the unicorn, the centaur, and the minotaur, and many, many, many more. And they are with us now. In your motion picture, in your heart minds, you're watching all of this gathering of reflections of all of us back and forth. And we continue to ascend up, and we're met with a gossamer field. And it is trillions of little mirrors reflecting trillions of different vibrant colors everywhere. It's everywhere. It's deep eternal love. It is pure, 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 deep eternal love. Saturating, flooding, bathing all of us inside and out, head to toe. And we're immediately met with the emerald green flaming healing light of Archangel Raphael. And this is a column that reminds each and every one of us that we are the power of healing. Then we're met with the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. This is a column that reminds each and every one of us of our omnipotent power, resolve, and strength. Then we're met with the white fire. This is the column that reminds each and every one of us that we are imbued head to toe, inside and out, with a God force energy white fire armor. It cannot be affected by any external force or authority. It cannot be manipulated. It cannot be breached. It cannot be influenced. We are protected 24/7 eternally. But only you have the power. Only you have the power. Only you have the power that if you decide to lower your vibrational frequency low enough through greed, hate, anger, anxiousness, impatience, ridicule, judgment, you will then create a breach in your white fire armor, allowing the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies to come flooding in. If you do decide to do this, whether it's unconscious or consciously, you are then met with the purple transmuting flame. This is the column that reminds each and every one of us that if this does happen, we can bring in the purple transmuting flame. We can transmute all of these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutralite substance and just send it back to pure consciousness, and there's no more. Then we're met with the violet ray. This column reminds us that each and every one of us have the power to call upon the violet ray, and it will purify and cleanse the area where these lower frequencies were. It will seal the breach in our armor. It will reharmonize our vibrational frequencies into the purest, purest, purest of deep eternal love. Then we're met with the golden white pink light. And this is a column that reminds each and every one of us that we are the sunsets, we are the sunrises, we are the rain, we are the rainbows, we are the oceans, the streams, the lakes, everything. We are the trees, the forests. We're everything. Some of us move outside of our bodies and float above them effortlessly as we continue to ascend, levitate above the planet. And as we do this, we come upon this massive crystalline-like tower, which we created. It's larger than the solar system. So it's effortless for us to view the column itself, and in the center is this beautiful oblong sphere that in the center has this beautiful golden white light that's sparkling and glowing, and it's sending out these beautiful, warm, embracing waves of deep eternal love. And it's eternal, and then all of the beautiful lights that surround it in the different bands of colors, all of them are doing the same and literally embracing us in gratitude and happiness and joy and gentleness and kindness and generosity and humbleness and tranquility and benevolence and abundance and prosperity. All of these waves, these different colors light, are each one of these facets of us, flooding all of us, all life, the highest supreme value of the universe is on and above and below this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya. now this meditation is circle of light, lifting the vibrational frequency beyond awareness. At the top of the column, we designed it so that the golden ocean can come flowing down 360 degrees. That's eternal, perpetual. It's flooding us in deep eternal love and gratitude, and bliss and joy, eternally, head to toe, inside and out. And each of us are drops of that golden ocean, and each of us contain the essence of that golden ocean. And the ocean is the drops, and the drops are the ocean. Then we see our meditative sphere. It's at center circle. We created this sphere well over 2 years ago. It holds well over 1,000 of our meditations in perpetual motion. It's absolutely magnificent. It can be seen, heard, and felt, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. And it continues to intensify, and it continues to expand. The purest of the purest, pure, deep, eternal love and gratitude, flooding everything and everything, moving this civilization into a much higher vibrational frequency. Not temporary. It's always about forward movement. It's always about the love that we are. And then you realize we live in the perfect process created by the universe. And we are all doing that perfectly, whether we realize it or not. And then we also sit back and relax, because nothing is under control. I'll join in the meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy breath in through the nose. And an easy breath out the mouth. Move slowly. And in your heart mind motion picture, think of your inner control freak is like a powerful computer program that was designed to remain in doubt, separation, possessiveness, jealousy, attachment, and fear. You, however, are the infinite light of awareness who has over-identified with this computer program. You do not have to participate in the computer's fearful drama program if you don't want to, if you don't care to. You can stop the program completely through pure awareness alone. You are just borrowing the software and the hardware body that comes with it for just a few trips around the sun. And one final day, you will have to let it all go. Yet during your final laps around the sun, you can practice unhooking the mind from its thoughts. And by allowing the mind to be super still without having any desire or focus at all, and the computer program will eventually slow down and stop, and you will suddenly wake up and see that your inner control freak is nowhere to be found. All there is pure awareness. Take this with you the rest of the day, into the evening and night until the following morning. And we'll be back here Tuesday, October 20th, 2020, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation